Hey guys, so just a quick video on installing a Velit gas heater in a Ram Promaster under the passenger seat. You can see here in this shot I've got access to the gas tank and access to underneath the passenger seat. And I've cleared the spot where I want to do the install, and there are some wires you have to be careful of when you cut out the foam, but once you do cut out the foam you can push the wires back, so just be careful there. I've identified with a little X the spot I want to cut. And the proximity to the gas tank is great because once you feed the lines down from the gas tank and the lines down from the heater, it's a perfect spot to mount the fuel pump right there. This is the turret I'm using, which will protect the sides of the wood I will use to level the heater from the hot exhaust as it goes through the floor of the van. There's the heater. You can see the plate that I'm not using there in the picture. So I'm going to drill a hole here, a 6-inch hole, mount the turret, use some plywood and shims to level it, and then I'll seal it all up with some paint, and then get the heater mounted with the lines fed through, and then go underneath and connect up the fuel pump. But it's relatively straightforward once you get everything taken apart and identify exactly where you want to drill. But you can see for reference where I did put the hole. So just getting the hole saw ready. This is not hardened steel, so it actually drills quite easily in this location. So I just have a bimetal hole saw, and it drilled quite nicely right through, perfect hole. Sealed it up with Por 15, and here you can see there's about 4 inches of clearance before the heat shield of the exhaust down below, which gives you plenty of room to route the lines. Again, here's just another angle. So there is a front section, I guess it's the back of the seat section, where I think it was probably for child seat anchors maybe, I'm not sure. It doesn't get used by the seat at all, and so I have to remove that just to give the heater a bit more clearance. We'll do that in a minute, but here you can see I'm just getting the plywood ready and I'm shimming it all, making sure the turret fits in there because it's got quite a wide base to it. So I've used some shims, you can sort of see them underneath the plywood there. Once I got it where I wanted, I PL'd everything together, painted it, sealed it, and it's nice and level with the rest of the van. And the heater sits perfectly where I wanted it. This is that piece I was talking about. You just have to cut it in from slot to slot, just cut off that 1/4 inch roughly, and it gives a little bit more clearance to the front of the heater, which is important because you don't want it hitting anything. The fan, the internal fan in those heaters is very delicate, and if you bend it at all, it will not spin properly and eventually it'll just burn out. So you don't want anything close to being in contact with the heater itself. So it's an easy removal. I cut it off, used some Por 15 and sealed it up. This is just a close-up of the underside of the heater, getting all the connections ready. There's the intake and exhaust and fuel supply. There's the heater mounted. Now underneath you can see where I mounted the fuel pump, and I've got it on a 15 to 30 degree angle, which is important, and I notice other people haven't done that. I put some protection over the fuel lines as they go through, but you can see they basically just go straight up from where I mounted, and that's into the turret. You can kind of see it in there, right in the center of the screen right now. That's the fuel line and the electrical for the pump coming in. And then up here is where the fuel tank is, and it just drops straight down and feeds into the fuel pump. It's a very short, easy run and simple spot to install. And I just use the supplied bolt to lock it in. The exhaust runs out the passenger side, and it's actually, I had to extend it a little bit with some extra exhaust pipe, but it runs perfectly up through to the passenger wheel well, which is a nice location because it's kind of hidden, and any smoke or anything that comes out won't be very noticeable, but it vents out the side very nicely. And there's the final install with the seat back on. I did a test and it works perfectly. I'm going to probably put a cover plate over the back of the lower seat bracket and hide the heater, and then just put the vent cover on it. But turned out great, relatively easy install compared to doing it in a Sprinter or a Ford Transit. Anyway, good luck.